everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List. This week is the first full week of August, so we're really trying to make a dent in my August TBR. We've already finished one book from it, and I'm hoping we can do two more. Let's see. I have to say, I really enjoy starting the week with finishing a book. I think I've done it the last 3 weeks in a row. I don't mean to, it just ends up that way. So I had said I wanted to finish two more books for my August TBR this week. I said that without actually thinking about the fact that I just finished one. And I already know what my next book is going to be, so I don't think I'm going to finish. I'll finish two more books for my August TBR. Maybe. I will say I'm going straight into another nonfiction, so we'll see. But I finished reading The Badass Librarians of Timbuktu by Joshua Hammer. This is about the Badass Librarians of Timbuktu. So it's about the efforts that a group of librarians from Timbuktu put into saving manuscripts from Mali, pretty much, from around like the, say, 13th to 17th centuries. They had originally all been sort of like scattered to various people for safe holding due to just different possible things that may destroy the manuscripts. And one librarian in particular, whose name I will struggle with, I believe his last name is Hedera, he collected a lot of them and brought them back to Timbuktu and helped form these like amazing libraries or private collections. I think there are like 45. But the bulk of the story goes into how those manuscripts were then smuggled out of Timbuktu when the city was taken over by terrorists in, I believe, 2011 or 12. I have to say, it was really interesting, especially because, like, that's a lot of it is history or recent history that I had no idea about, which just goes to show that I need to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and actually pay attention to news. But in my defense, I was also like 20 when that happened, which maybe I still should have been paying attention. But I thought it was really interesting. I really like the way it was presented because it did go into a lot of the background information. Like in my vlog from last week, I made a comment of like, I don't know why we just went through like 5 chapters about like terrorism in Africa. Now it makes a lot more sense. I didn't think about it necessarily, like the extent of knowledge that has to be conveyed. I knew that the book was about smuggling these manuscripts away from Al-Qaeda pretty much, but I didn't think about the fact that like we need to understand why that was a worry, because the terrorists who were, you know, radical, they would have destroyed the manuscripts because it wasn't all about living this like austere holy life. It was about, you know, different forms of entertainment or philosophy that they didn't approve of, and so they would have destroyed this history, so it had to be smuggled out. So I thought it was really, really cool, quite honestly. I gave it a 4.5. I always feel weird rating nonfiction just because like it's a real event. Like it's a real event that's being discussed, or it's someone's lived experience in the case of like memoirs. And so I'm essentially just looking at it as like I'm sort of just judging your writing style, which also feels a little mean. But luckily Joshua Hammer is a great writer, which is not surprising. He worked for the Smithsonian magazine, so it's not necessarily surprising. But yeah, I thought it was really, really cool. I'm definitely going to keep it. I think it was nice inspiration for my future career. Not that I think I'm going to be smuggling documents past anyone, but I don't know. it was sort of nice getting to see what librarians could do. I did ask Siri what the next book I should read is, and I happen to also have it with me, and it is Wonder of Wonders, A Cultural History of Fiddler on the Roof. So I'm reading this for the book club at my temple. Someone else is leading the meeting this time, and then I will probably take over for the next time. And they picked this book, which I have to say I am really excited about. Just along with like all the other nonfiction books I have to read this month, I'm just like, okay, I would have liked a fiction book, but I don't have that many on my list, so that's fine. It is it's not quite as long as it's not quite as long as I thought it was. It's 356 pages, which, like, for a fiction book would not worry me at all. For the fact that it's nonfiction is kind of worrying. But also, the font is, like, decently large. That actually doesn't look large at all. But, like, I think it's okay. I think I'll be able to read it. I'm not going to read it tonight because I just finished a nonfiction book and I need a little bit of a rest. But I am excited about it because I don't know nearly enough about Fiddler on the Roof. I've seen it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I know a couple years ago there was a production all in Yiddish in New York City, which sounded really cool, and I am actually like doing Yiddish on Duolingo. And not that I think I'll be able to watch a production of anything in Yiddish anytime soon. It was cool. I liked hearing about it. So I will probably start that tomorrow. And I will also be starting Lord of the Rings tomorrow on audiobook. So it's going to be a busy week. Busy week. I'll check with you guys later. Good morning. I am sort of struggling with reading Wonder of Wonders. It's just because it's nonfiction. Like, it's really interesting because I didn't know the origins of Fiddler on the Roof. And so it is really cool to read about everything that was sort of going on around the time that it was created. However, it's nonfiction. The pages are very large. The font is decently sized, but it's still very large. There's many pages. There's only 10 chapters, and it's over 300 pages. So each chapter is like around 50 pages, which just feels daunting. So I'm not even past chapter 1 yet. I'm like right in the middle of it. So I'm sort of struggling with that, which is disappointing because I really want to have it read this week. So I'm going to see what I can do as far as reading it. I took it to work with me the past 2 days and read a little bit, but like maybe a total of 15 pages, which is not bad, but it's just like it feels like I'm not any closer. Like, feels like I'm not making progress, which makes me want to avoid it instead because I'm not making progress. So that's fun. I have listened to 4.5 hours of Lord of the Rings, though, so I'm 20% through. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. So, and that's the other reason I want to make more progress with Wonder of Wonders, because I want to read the rest of my physical books so that I can pick up Lord of the Rings in physical form and then like bounce between the two and make more progress that way. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. It's a little difficult. Trying to think of what else. Tuesday, I got off work early, and I could have come home and read. That is very true. But instead, I messaged a friend that is got a new job somewhat near me, like, kind of. Closer than they were. But I messaged and I'm like, hey, I know you get off at 5 today. I get done at 7. Do you want to come out here and have dinner? And they were very excited, so we had dinner. And so I got home about the same time as I usually would. But it was totally worth it. I haven't seen them since May. So I'm very glad that we were able to hang out. And other than that, don't think I really did much. So, today's plan. I have personal training in about an hour. We're going to talk about how horribly I did with eating this week. Woo, yay. And then I have the entire afternoon to do things. And then I have a writing date at 5, and then the Try Guys live at 8. Yeah. So I pretty much have 6 hours in the afternoon to be productive. So I would like to read. I would like to get to chapter 3, but I feel like that's maybe a little too ambitious. But I would like to read. I'd like to edit the podcast. And I need to make more progress with that, because as soon as this one's done, then I can switch over into my new, like, routine for the semester. I spent some time last night pretty much rewriting my planner in like 2 weeks of when school starts and like what's that going to look like, balancing everything. So it's going to be really helpful to not have the podcast. So I want to make some more progress with that. And then I need to edit last week's vlog. Yeah, not this one. This one's not done yet. And I need to edit and schedule that. So that is what I would like to do. There are other things that I could accomplish, which I will not be upset at. Pretty much as long as last week's vlog gets up Saturday, I'm fine. I aim for Fridays, but if it's Saturday, that's fine, whatever. So I just want to get some stuff off my to-do list. I don't want it to turn into last week where it's Sunday night and I have 28 things to do. It's a little much. So that's my plan. I'm going to try to do something now before I go to personal training. So let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this vlog up. I know it hasn't been super exciting because I haven't filmed really that much this week. I'm just doing a lot. I'm really hoping that once I get this episode of the podcast finished, which I'm working on right now, which is why I'm going to go ahead and wrap this vlog up, that I'll feel less stressed. Just because I feel like I'm trying to balance so much and get so much done before school starts that, like, I just need one thing off my plate, and it's the podcast. Dad is going to take over editing that going forward because of school, so yeah. Reading update. I'm on page 140 for Wonder of Wonders. We're at the point where Fiddler on the Roof is going through, like, the drafting process and the different creative types that work on a Broadway show have been assembled. And so it's really cool because, like, the book started in like 1905, moved through the rest of Shalom Alehem's life and his story and his attempts to get some of his works on Broadway. And then once he passed, there were different iterations of some of his works, some of which were about his works that Fiddler on the Roof is based off of. But now we're getting to a point where, like, Fiddler on the Roof, as we know it, is starting to take shape. So that's really cool. I'm probably going to stop there for a couple days because I have my book club meeting, my family book club meeting Thursday. So I need to read that book before we meet. So starting tomorrow, I will probably pick up Horns by Joe Hill, get that read really quickly, and then go back to Wonder of Wonders. So there's that. For Lord of the Rings, I have listened to about 9.5 hours of Fellowship, and I'm in Bree. I'm at the Prancing Pony, and the hobbits have just met Strider and learned who he was, and now the next chapter, the Black Riders are going to come and scare the crap out of everyone. So I'm really enjoying it. Andy Serkis does a great job narrating, and it's just really nice, like, getting to experience a world that I love so much again, because I think I've said this before, like, I haven't read Lord of the Rings in probably 7 to 8 years, so I'm really having a good time with that. And the fact that it's narrated, which I've never listened to on an audiobook, and it's narrated by Andy Serkis, like, it's just hitting all my things. I think the only thing that would be better is if it was narrated by Richard Armitage, but that's just because I love Richard Armitage. And he played Thorin. But it wouldn't make as much sense. It makes a lot of sense for Andy Serkis to do it, and he's doing a great job. I really love when he's singing. Because if you've never read Fellowship of the Ring, or any Tolkien work, there's a lot of songs. Some of them make no sense. All of them are really fun. And I appreciate Andy Serkis putting his all into it. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. There's my reading. I haven't done a ton this week. I've made a decent chunk on Lord of the Rings, I will say. I've listened to almost 10 hours this week, which is definitely more than, like, not more than I've driven, obviously, because I've only listened to it while I've been driving. But I think 9.5 hours in 1 week for commuting is a lot. But because I'm enjoying it so much, it doesn't make the commute feel that long. It's just like, even Friday afternoon traffic, I'm just like, okay, well, this just gives me extra time listening to Lord of the Rings. So that's cool. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this vlog up. And by the time you all see it, I'll be starting school. Isn't that exciting? Because I'm a week behind because I didn't upload this on Saturday like I should have. Or the last week's vlog like I should have. It's fine. You guys will forgive me. I hope. Anyway, comment if you are also reading Lord of the Rings, or reading Lord of the Rings for the first time, or want to read Lord of the Rings, because I will gush about it all day long. Or just leave a comment saying hi. I appreciate those too. Like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. With the podcast being off my plate, I'm really going to try to focus on being more consistent with YouTube. I've been trying to do more consistent twice a week postings, but life gets in the way, but I'm working on it. And other than that, I will check in with you guys in the next one. Bye.